a Star Trek The Next Generation MPU, and clearly it had some alkaline corrosion from a leaky battery at one point, so we have abated all of that. And it did require a couple of jumpers on the back side of the board because the traces were just obliterated. So I've taken care of that. And we have our test rig ROM installed, and I've installed an NV RAM. And I always clip W15, 16, 17, and 18 here because they just get in the way. This sets the board to USA 2, which is universal. So let's put it into, well, I'm actually in test already. And one of the traces that needed to be rebuilt was the down trace. So I've got that fixed now. You can see that's working. Now let's go through the rest of the switch matrix. Let's go diagonally across here, proving that all the rows and all the columns are working. And there's the last one. So this is a good one to have going now. Let's see, let's back out of this to see what else we can test on the MPU. No, we don't need to do that. We can do some solenoid testing just to make sure that the signals are getting from the MPU over to the power driver board. And with this test rig ROM, it'll do the 16 solenoids that just went off. And now I can do the flasher test and do the same thing. Get it into repeat. And we're good to go there. We can make sure that the GI dimming circuit is working correctly. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Now dimming's not working on this driver board. Interesting. I'll have to figure out what's going on there. But that is, unless that's a signal coming from the MPU to the driver board, which is entirely possible, but we will see. And the lamps are all functioning. So that's it. Let me figure out what's going on with GI dimming on this board. So I have installed the Star Trek The Next Generation ROM back into the CPU, and as I suspected, it wasn't a problem with the CPU about the dimming. It was a problem with this driver board where a connection from one of the AC inputs was not reaching down toward a via on the board. So let's put it into test again. And I'll take care of that time and date thing in just a second. And test the GI. And you can see we're dimming now. Excellent. I love it when a plan comes together. So let's hammer through the normal things that I change on my games. Whoops. Let's set the time and date. It's nice in later games they let you hit the credit button to accept those changes. I like to have my games lower than most people, lower volume, and we'll put it on free play. And we're back to the boot screen. It's probably going to look for some switches that aren't, of course, on my test rig. It'll probably say check F114 and 115, or maybe something about the guns not finding home. Let's just see, just for giggles. Soundboard interface error, probably. There's that message. Yeah, that's it. I can set the volume down below 8 now since I changed that. So this MPU, corrosion abated, taken care of. You can see that I had to take these headers off the switch matrix and the direct switch inputs just to make sure there was no corrosion underneath them. And I always sand that down to bare copper. There was a little corrosion under one of these connections. I think it was this one. So I will advise the client to make sure that he repins the female housing on this game. And then got some nice ramp lock headers right there. Thanks again.